So it's a pretty tough time for the gaming industry. I think we all can see that as studio after studio announces layoffs and people are not really secure in their jobs. And it's never been an industry that's been particularly secure with their job. Very often you would see people get hired on for a project, the game would release, and then they would get laid off. However, over the last year or so, we've seen people get laid off from projects that we assumed were going pretty well. If there's one studio that I thought would be immune to these layoffs, it would, of course, be Epic Games. But I was wrong. The makers of Fortnite, the most popular game in the world, surely would have been at least a little bit insulated from these layoffs, but that just doesn't seem to be the case. Let's head over to PC Gamer and Andy Chalk's article. As Andy says, Epic Games lays off more than 1,000 employees. We're spending significantly more than we're making, CEO Tim Sweeney says. Epic Games has laid off more than 1,000 employees. CEO Tim Sweeney says the company is still spending significantly more than it's making as a result of an ongoing slump in Fortnite engagement that began in 2025, which has necessitated major cuts to keep the company funded. Sweeney said some of the problems facing Epic are endemic to the games industry, such as current consoles selling less than last generations, while others are unique to Epic. Despite Fortnite remaining one of the most successful games in the world, we've had challenges delivering consistent Fortnite magic with every season. Sweeney wrote about the layoffs. Sweeney also referenced Epic's year-long legal dispute with Apple and Google, an effort that ultimately resulted in victory for Epic, but only after a drawn-out and surely very expensive process. We're only in the early stages of returning to mobile and optimizing Fortnite for the world's billions of smartphones. And in being the industry's vanguard, we have taken a lot of bullets in a battle which is only in the early days of paying off for ourselves and developers. So, going over to Epic Games' website and their press release on this. So, this note was sent to Epic employees today. Today, we're laying off over 1,000 Epic employees. I'm sorry we're here again. The downturn in Fortnite engagement that started in 2025 means that we're spending significantly more than we're making, and we have to make major cuts to keep the company funded. This layoff, together with a $500 million of identified cost savings in contracting, marketing, and closing some open roles, puts us in a more stable place. Some of the challenges we're facing are industry-wide challenges, slower growth, weaker spending, and tougher cost economics, current consoles selling less than last generations, and games competing for time against other increasingly engaging forms of entertainment. And some of our challenges are unique to Epic. Despite Fortnite remaining one of the most successful games in the world, we've had challenges delivering consistent Fortnite magic with every season. We're only in the early stages of returning to mobile and optimizing Fortnite for the world's billions of smartphones, and in being the industry's vanguard, we have taken a lot of bullets in a battle which is only in the early days of paying off for ourselves and all developers. Since it's a thing now, I should note that layoffs aren't related to AI. To the extent it improves productivity, we want to have as many awesome developers developing great content and tech as we can. What we now need to do is clear: build awesome Fortnite experiences with fresh seasonal content, gameplay, and story, and live events. Accelerate developer tools with greater stability and capabilities as we evolve from the Unreal Engine 5 and UEFN to Unreal Engine 6. And we'll be kicking off the next generation of Epic with huge launch plans toward the end of the year. This isn't our first time being here. Epic survived upheavals in the 1990s with the move from 2D to 3D with Unreal 1, in 2000s building console games with Gears of War, and in 2012 moving to online gaming with Paragon and Fortnite. Each time we rebuilt our foundations and earned a renewed leadership position. Market conditions today are the most extreme we've seen since those early days, with massive upheavals in the industry accompanied by massive opportunity for the companies that come out as winners on the other side. That's what we're aiming to do for our players and we aim to bring other like-minded developers in the industry along the journey to build an increasingly open and vibrant future of entertainment together. At Epic, we pride ourselves in only hiring the industry's best, so it's very painful to part with so many talented people. The folks impacted by the layoffs will receive a severance package that includes at least 4 months of base pay, with more based on tenure. We're also extending Epic paid healthcare coverage. For example, in the US, they'll receive paid coverage for 6 months. We'll also accelerate the stock options vesting through January 2027 and extend equity exercise options for up to 2 years. We'll have a company meeting Thursday to talk about the roadmap in more detail. So, obviously, the severance is important. The health insurance is really important because in the US, health insurance is tied to your job. When you lose your job, you lose your health insurance, which is, really shitty. And it keeps people in jobs that maybe they otherwise would try to get away from. But yeah, this is an unfortunate situation. Tim Sweeney tried to soften the blow when he said that employers will see a stream of resumes of once in a lifetime quality on Twitter. So let's head over to PC Gamer and Rory Norris, who says Epic CEO Tim Sweeney says employers will see a stream of resumes of once in a lifetime quality after the company laid off more than 1,000 people. Just yesterday, Epic Games announced that it had laid off more than 1,000 employees from across the company, as well as cutting over $500 million in contracting, marketing, and closing job posts, according to CEO Tim Sweeney. Epic is still spending significantly more than it's making, despite the company running one of the most popular games in history, Fortnite, and Unreal Engine, which is used wisely across the industry. Sweeney put this down to Fortnite's ongoing downturn in engagement in current consoles selling less than last generation, only a passing reference to Epic's year-long legal disputes with Apple and Google, which ultimately resulted in a victory for Epic at a high cost. Naturally, after laying off more than 1,000 employees, Sweeney went to X to explain in the coming days employers will see a stream of resumes of once-in-a-lifetime quality folks. Sweeney goes on to say that Epic never lowered its hiring standards as it grew, and the layoff wasn't a performance-based right-sizing. It is a sound bet that anyone with Epic's games on their resume is a top few percent of their discipline. And he's not wrong, and then they go on to list a bunch of the more notable people. So, obviously, a surprise. For me, I didn't see this coming. I thought that Epic Games was doing well and Fortnite was doing well. Evidently, that wasn't the case. As they pointed out in those articles, they spent a lot of money to get a better percentage of the revenue from the Google Play Store and Apple iTunes, or I don't know what it's called, the Apple Store. Now, I'm showing my age here, but that's not going to pay off immediately. They're hoping for a long runway, and it almost feels a little bit like they missed their window. Obviously, this would have paid off more when Fortnite was as big of a phenomenon as it was back in the day. We saw the Battle Royale genre really take off with Fortnite and become this omnipresent thing in the game industry for years, but now it's not as popular. The industry seems to be moving on a little bit with more extraction shooters in the form of, say, from Tarkov. Obviously, Arc Raiders was absolutely huge, and now Marathon just came out and seems to be doing pretty decently, all things considered. So maybe the time of Fortnite is over. Will he try to branch out into an extraction shooter? Honestly, probably. But it's, very disappointing when you can't even count on working for the biggest game in the games industry and having reliable employment. So, what are your thoughts about all of this? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for checking out this video. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe. We have new videos coming out all the time here on the channel. Check out the main channel where you get everything, our sports channel where you get sports, and our podcasting channel, Better Radio. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.